Welcome back. Summertime is a fun time in Maine for so many people, but for the Red Cross, it can be a challenging time when it comes to meeting the demand for blood.
That's it. Joining us now to talk about the blood shortage right now and how you can help out and how easy it is to donate is the Executive Director of the Red Cross, Stephen Thomas, and also Mark Munson, who is a blood recipient and a blood donor as well. Steve, first of all, let's talk about the shortage and how serious it is right now.
Absolutely. So, as you know, the American Red Cross collects blood and blood products from volunteer donors all across the country. We deliver those products to hospitals and treatment centers all across the country, including 24 hospitals here in Maine. But what you see over the summer, as you sort of alluded to, people get busy, right? They travel, their time with their family, and then we have climate disasters that disrupt blood drives all across the country, including heat waves, hurricanes, rain events, etc. So summer is always a really difficult time, and what we've seen since July 1st is the national blood supply has dropped 25%.
Wow. Again,
only since July 1st. So we are in a blood shortage, and we definitely need more donors right now.
And Mark, you were involved in an extremely serious crash and needed a blood donation. Can you tell us more about what happened?
Well, yes, a little over a year ago, I was in a motorcycle accident, had serious injuries, including internal bleeding. And it was at the MMC ER that I'm told after the fact that I received 7 units of blood. And if that blood had not been available for me, we would not be sitting here this morning. I would not be here with you today. So it brought for me blood donation. I'd been a blood donor since I was 18 years old. Learned it from my dad by example. And I knew that blood donation would help somebody somewhere at some time, and then you sort of forget about it. Well, when I received the blood and am here to talk about it, now it becomes very personal.
Yeah, and Steve, I mean, obviously you know Mark's story, but I mean, it seems like not just the summer, but there is constantly a blood shortage.
Well, yeah, the shortages are fairly rare, but the need for blood is constant. That's what we always say. Every 2 seconds, somebody somewhere in the United States needs a blood transfusion. So it's amazing how frequently it happens. You think about accident victims like Mark, you know, you go through a trauma, but also disease treatment, whether it's a chronic issue or an acute issue, childbirth complications. That's a big one that people don't think about. But anytime that you need a blood transfusion or someone you know does, the only way we get it is from a volunteer donor like Mark, who rolls up their sleeve and saves a life.
And Mark, you said you learned this from your dad when you first started donating. Did you ever think that you would actually be on the other side of this? And what do you think your dad, you know, his reaction would be?
You never think it's going to happen to you. You know, accidents always happen to somebody else. My dad was a traveling salesman, and he would come home on occasion with a bandage on his arm and say, "Dad, what happened?" He said, "Well, I gave blood today." Just those 3 words, "I gave blood today." He didn't talk about it, he didn't expand on it, but I learned by example, oh, you gave blood. He would just stop by a blood drive on his travels every now and then. Never made an appointment, just would drop in and say, "Hey, I'm available." And that example said, well, I can probably do that, and I've been donating for a long time. And again, it's only when you're on the receiving end that you realize, yes, somebody really needs it then. And you're helping somebody now, and you know, for that 1 hour of your day to get out, roll up your sleeve, donate a unit of blood to the Red Cross, you're helping somebody sometime. You may not know who they are, but boy, will you make a difference in their lives.
And both of you guys can address this, but you go there, and this is the ultimate when it comes to volunteering. Your time, your blood, and it's really giving the gift of life, right? And you just said it takes an hour. I mean, it really doesn't take that long. It's an hour every couple of months, and it's not that difficult.
Right, yeah, you mentioned you used to be a blood donor, and I thank you for that. It really is the easiest way to save a life. We think about all the courageous things we would do if we saw something happen or there was an emergency. You can do something courageous today. Go to redcrossblood.org, sign up to donate blood, make an appointment with us. 40% of our appointments in the next 2 weeks in the state of Maine are open and available. So we need more folks to do it. We're at a 20-year low in the number of donors across the country. There are fewer people donating blood now than any time in the last 20 years. So we really need to reverse that trend, make sure that blood is available for people like Mark or anyone in your life that might need it. We take it for granted, and I think it's important that we change that.
And blood has a shelf life, is that correct?
Absolutely.
So you can't really be just stockpiling this for, you know,
unfortunately not. And that's why, you know, after the end of the summer, when things have been slow for a couple of months, anything that we did have in reserve is depleting, like a savings account, right? So we need to replenish that, get it back up. Blood has a shelf life of only 42 days, a whole blood product. So yeah, it's really important that we replenish that constantly because, as you said, we can't stockpile it.
And Mark, the nice thing about it doesn't take a lot of time, and you get a great treat at the end. I used to eat Oreos all the time.
You do.
Right?
And,
Right?
Yeah.
You get
A well-deserved treat.
And totally coincidentally, I had scheduled a week and a half ago a blood donation today.
Wow.
And then this opportunity came up, so when I leave the studio today, I'm going to go give blood.
There you go.
It's amazing.
And one thing we want to do, we're having the Sea Dogs come up a little later. Chris Cameron, who's the vice president, to talk about the Sea Dog baseball. You got the opportunity to throw out a first pitch for the Sea Dogs.
I did. I had the opportunity to throw out the season 2024 opening first pitch. When I was recovering, I had run across Jeff Iaquesta, the president, in my recovery, and I said, Jeff, my goal is to walk back into Hadlock Field on my own. And I did it, and the staff honored me with asking me to throw out the first pitch. It was absolutely amazing.
Did you throw a strike?
I did.
Of course you did.
And I threw it to Kyle Teal, who's now up with AAA Worcester.
All right.
That's
So,
great.
Great fun.
Well, Mark, we're so happy that you're here to tell your story and hopefully inspire others to do the same and give blood.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you
very
for
grateful to be here.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just awesome, and we really need to encourage more people to do that too, to give blood.
And where can people sign up? What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so redcrossblood.org. You can find an appointment near you. Put in your zip code. It shows you all the upcoming blood drives. You can also call 1-800-RED-CROSS. If you're not a website user, call the phone number, make an appointment, come save a life.
Make an appointment today.
Yeah.
Today.
Sure,
There you go.
absolutely. Do it
All
now.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, both of you.